Ernie, you got Adam, Gretchen, and Paul here.
Hi, Ernie.
Good morning.
Oh, well, good morning. I didn't recognize the numbers. How y'all doing?
We're doing good. Doing good.
Great.
So
great,
what's
great.
going on?
How's the meeting going?
It's going fine. You know, we've been trapped in this room, so we don't really know what's happening in the outside world. So
It's raining.
I'm assuming it's going well out in cyberspace, but yeah.
Good,
Steve Silberberg is reporting
Good to hear
that
from
all is going well, lectures are going well, people are interacting, but...
And congratulations on your book. A published
Thanks, Paul.
author,
Appreciate it very much.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it very much.
Yeah, so Ernie, what have you been up to? Obviously you published a book, but what else? So, Gretchen, you work with Gretchen for all those years, and all of a sudden you're not there anymore. It's kind of weird.
Well, he's still on our
Well, no,
board. He's not totally gone.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, Gretchen can't get rid of me. I'm like a bad penny. I keep turning up, So, starting a new journal with the Energized Group, the Association of Corporate Affiliate Optometrists. They wanted to try to put something together, so I've been kind of heading that up. Our first issue will come out the 1st of March, and trying to finish that up this weekend. That's what I'm doing here, trying to look over the page proofs and everything and get it to the printer by the 1st of the month. So kind of excited about that. Like I said, something a little different. That, and like I said, just writing and seeing patients every day, man. Just trying to, one foot in front of the other, dude.
Grinding it out. Cool. Well, and then so this book. So I'm putting up your book actually right on the screen right now, so people can see it. So,
are you going to go on a book signing tour? At least to a certain, I think at least Pennsylvania and West Virginia and
that would seem to be a good place, wouldn't it, Paul? It really would. Yeah, it would. I'm sure it'll sell dozens of copies, and we can. Yeah.
So Ernie, I had no idea that you were from coal country. I thought you were from Alabama. I had no clue.
I moved down here. I was born in backwater Kentucky, Adam, a place called Pikeville, which is where the new optometry school is.
Right.
And Kentucky College of Optometry is located in Pikeville. I was born in the old miners' hospital there, and Dad was an itinerant coal miner and moved around a good bit. So did my grandfather. And then when I was 9, I moved to West Virginia. Spent my high school, years there, and then graduated, stayed at the little college there in Bluefield, got my 2-year degree in engineering, mining engineering. Then I came to Alabama. This is what brought me to Alabama. There were 3 colleges at the time in the United States that offered a degree in mining engineering: West Virginia, the Colorado School of Mines, and the University of Alabama. Well, West Virginia and Colorado kind of got ixnayed because I hate cold weather. So I just said, well, I'm going to Alabama. So that's what brought me down here when I was just turned 20, I think, when I came down here. So I've been here ever since.
That's great. Well, I hope you make big sales. You take me back. In the 1970s, when cassette tapes first began, a company approached me to do my lectures on tape. And they were going to sell them nationally. I said, what an opportunity. I mean, entertainers always do their songs and things on tape, and when they're live, they become a hit. Well, they had the tapes, and of course, I didn't realize the penuriousness, I should say stingy, of many optometrists, and they didn't individually buy the tape. But each association would get one tape and they would pass it around. So there wasn't much profit.
That sounds about
As a
right.
matter of fact, one even sent it back. He wanted a refund.
Adam almost spit out his coffee.
Oh my God!
So much for on-tape education.
I like that. So I got to remember that story. All right, that's good. So yeah, you've been. That was, those times were, different. I remember driving, in my car and having the old 8 tracks. You plug them in and, and every now and then they'd hang up and then they'd break, and it wasn't particularly, a very efficient way of doing things, but it was what it was at the time. So it was good. And of course now, do they make those things? Do they still make cassettes? I don't even think they do that anymore, do they?
I think
download stuff.
Yeah, there's one manufacturer left because apparently hipsters have now latched onto the cassette as,
Oh, geez.
So
is that right?
Because albums are back, too.
Right. So, yeah.
Vinyl's making a comeback, absolutely.
But meanwhile,
absolutely.
Ernie, I have a question for you. So you've actually worked in mines before. I've never met anyone who's actually been down into the earth like that. What's it like?
Mm-hmm.
It's scary.
I mean, it's scary, right?
I had to give a talk in South Africa, and one of the deals was that they didn't want to pay me much because they kept whining how little money they had, etc. The optometrists. So they let me do tours. I went to a game park, but one of the tours I took in South Africa was going into a diamond mine, which is way underground.
Yep.
And man, if you're claustrophobic, it's not a very good feeling. For sure.
That's a good way to put it, Paul. It really is. It's it's like a little underground city, Adam. I mean, it goes in all four directions of the compass: north, south, east, and west. And you go underground. There's lights, there's track, there's power, there's water. There. I mean, it's but the only thing you have to remember is there's a roof over your head. It's just not wood or asphalt or shingle. It is mountain. And it goes for several hundred, or down in Alabama, they were the deepest vertical shaft coal mines in the United States. They went down 2,550 feet.
Oh my God!
Yeah. You'd stand at the bottom and look back up at the shaft, and the shaft was 22 foot in diameter. It looked like it wasn't even the size of a dime. It was so small.
Oh my God!
So and you knew at least some of the mines in West Virginia, they were 3, 4 to up to 600 feet. But they had these huge drills. If something were, what they call emergency drills, they could bore through rock at the rate of about, 300 foot a day, something like that. So if you were, in a very shallow mine, and if something happened, you got stuck in there, they could drill down to you in a day. And
I can't imagine
this.
Those Chilean miners, was that in Chile where they had that mine collapse and they were there for I don't know how long?
That's exactly right. If you saw that movie, that's the exact same. They imported that drill and that escape hatch from the United States. That was flown in on the C-130 transport down there, so that they could excavate. They could evacuate those miners. So it's and if you ever get to do that, that's kind of fun. So it's probably the most harrowing. I like to call it probably the most harrowing ride you'll ever be on in your life, because you're in this little cage and you're in this 3 foot diameter shaft, and the thing spins. There's no way to keep it from spinning, so it spins constantly.
It spins?
Oh my God!
It spins. Yeah, it spins constantly as they pull you out. So it's so you're rotating, and it would go really fast, except it bounces against the wall and it slows. So you're bouncing against the wall as you spin, as you pull up, and of course they don't. When you drill a shaft like that, you run through water tables. So, and you don't seal them off like you do in a conventional mine if you're going to use the shaft. So this is something that's going to be used one time. So the water's pouring on you. And it's cold and it's wet and it's dark. There's no light. I mean, it's pretty. I got to do it once as a training exercise.
And I bet a lot of people don't know they're claustrophobic until you're exposed to something like this. Because I never realized I was claustrophobic. The only thing I knew, as soon as there was a lack of oxygen in the exam room, when the patient started whining and complaining, I had to whine. That's New York, babe. People whine and they kvetch. Kvetch is a New York word.
I know that word well.
And when they would complain, I didn't realize there was a lack of oxygen in the exam room, and I wanted to strangle them. I didn't know what the hell was wrong. But
further reducing their lack of oxygen.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, who would have thought of that? Lack of oxygen in the exam room. Come on. I mean,
Wow.
And that's the other thing. Like as Paul was saying, in some of the older mines, again the height is dependent upon what they call the seam or the thickness of the coal. And the early mines were 10, 12 foot, and as they depleted that, they had to go to smaller and smaller vein sizes. And I've been in some as low as high as 30 inches, which is
oh my God.
Pull out a tape measure and put it down there and measure 30 inches. And that's what you get to crawl around. In other words, the joke was you went in on your stomach, you came out on your stomach.
Pictures of miners have girth. How do you segregate the?
Yeah, if you were a big guy, you're stuck. Yep. Now I got a little claustrophobic in those, Paul. That's a little too low for my taste. Yeah. But the other thing, it's a very macabre joke. The mountain falls ain't got far. It ain't got far too far.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was it's different. It's different. I don't miss it. Karen and I, my wife worked there as well. Karen worked there for 7 years.
I told you.
Wow.
That's how you met in the mines, right?
Yes, that's exactly correct. I was lost. I had been transferred to a new mine, and was lost, had gotten lost, and using pretty good directions. I usually pretty good at that, but I was lost that particular day and didn't have the mind map with me. And they do have maps just like out here on the street to tell you where you're going. But I didn't have a map with me, and she was a pumper, which was, again, water comes in the mine, and somebody has to pump the water back out of the mine, and that was her job, to set up the pumps and pump the water back out. And I was in a very, very, not really abandoned, but very rarely used part of the mine where the pumps were. And I ran up on her and asked her, and she didn't want to let her know I was lost, but I guess she kind of knew I was because nobody come that way. And so she gave me directions. So she gave me directions back out, and that was the first time when we didn't talk anymore for several years. I didn't see her. Yeah, she worked there 7 years.
Very romantic.
Yeah, look at that.
Well, I wouldn't call it that. I mean, when you're dirty and nasty and curly coat,
Let me look at that
it's
cover
not a very
one more
romantic thing
time.
there, Paul.
Sure.
I just noticed, one had a beard and one looked like Jack Armstrong there.
He's looking at the cover of your book.
So my question is facial hair. Most of the time when you see miners, they have some sort of beard or other.
Yep.
Is that so, or is that just the stereotype?
Oh, yeah. No, that was. I looked for pictures. I had a full Grizzly Adams beard at the time, and I don't know whatever happened.
I need a picture of that.
If you're going to go on that book signing tour, you better start growing it again if they want to identify with you.
Yeah, but it was very it was very big and burly and you wouldn't think it would, but because coal dust gets in, it's terribly hard. Coal dust gets in everything. I mean, it gets in your pores, it gets in your eyelashes, it gets in
into your lungs,
your toenails. Especially there. Yes,
there are some fields. There are some fields that attract generations of family members over and over again, like pro wrestling, let's say, and coal mining, and you can see why, because from the outside, objectively, this looks crazy. Like, I would never in a million years get into one of these shafts.
I found the picture of you with your mustache, Ernie.
With my porn stash, as it's always called.
I will send it to you. Would you like to put that up, Adam?
Absolutely. Send it to me. I'll put it up on the screen so everyone can see.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Oh, Lord. Okay.
Are you okay with that, Ernie? Would you rather I not?
Oh, sure. I mean, it's on the internet. I mean, it's public domain, I guess. You know what I mean?
But I can see culturally, like if you weren't exposed to this as a kid and didn't know other people who did it, this would be something very difficult to get into. I would have I have a really hard time picturing kids today wanting to go do this.
I want to be a coal miner.
Yeah, it's scary. It's so
I think
different.
it's very cultural too.
Right.
Ernie, your dad was a coal miner, and if you live in that area, it's what you do, and that's what happened in the book too.
Right.
Yes, that's exactly correct. In fact, you said that, Gretchen. There is a book on my mantel place says, and it's for kids. It says, "I want to be a coal miner." That is the title of the book. A little bitty 20-page book with illustrations for children.
Wow.
But you're right, Adam. It's a very close knit community. That's what you do. You either, I think it said in the book, either a coal miner, you're a doctor that processes their black lung claim, you're a lawyer that helps them get their black lung claim, or you're a teacher that teaches the miners' kids.
Right.
And that's pretty much that was pretty much the limit of the. And this was the grocery store guy who sold the groceries to the. Told the miners. There wasn't a lot of things to do, and that was the only thing I knew. I mean, that was the only thing I knew. I didn't, that was it. I mean, when I was growing up, that's what everybody did. Everybody in that small community was a coal miner, and it was very stratified. It was very social stratification. I think, the bosses were a certain level, and the workers were another level, and the mine management, was the royalty in the area. The guys who ran the mines and They usually came from somewhere else, usually from Pennsylvania. Who were sent down by the main company to oversee the things.
So basically, optometrists that practice there have to know small coal miner small talk. Is that true?
No, they did. That's exactly correct. There was only one in the town that I remember. He made one of my pairs of glasses when I was in high. I made my gas perm contacts when I played football, and he was a nice man. He's no longer alive, but there was only one. There was like a couple doctors. There was one dentist. I mean, it wasn't, Paul, it's a community of maybe, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people. There are not a lot of professionals that come to that area. And I think his father was, if I remember correctly, his father was a coal miner, and he came back to that area, when he finished school at Illinois.
Hey, I want to ask you a controversial question then. So, you're from Pikeville. Do you think that having the school there is actually a good thing? Do you think that's an underserved place? Is it useful to have a school?
Well, it's very underserved, Adam, and there's no doubt about it. It is. And the other thing about it, there's a tremendous, if you look at the demographics of the area, there's a tremendous number, people in West Virginia, that part of the world, have the highest rate of hypertension, diabetes, heart disease of anywhere in the country. Now, the question will become, and I talked to Andy about it before, when he was there, and he's gone and starting up another school someplace else, I think. But anyway, the game plan is to establish. I don't think they'll be doing a tremendous amount in the clinic in that town. They're planning on establishing rural clinics in outlying areas, so so that they're going to reach out, because there's not a huge population base in Pikeville. I mean, it's only like 9,000 people, I think, and there's several optometrists already in the area. Mm-hmm. So I think what the game plan, from talking to the people there, Cliff Cottle is there, and Cliff's an excellent doctor. I've known Cliff for years. The game plan, from what I understand, is to go out and put clinics in Grundy and in Jenkins and in Prestonsburg and outlying areas so that the students will have, patient contacts. So I think that's a pretty good idea. And so I think they recognized early on that there wasn't enough of a population base there in that town to, get the students the patient encounters that they need.
Because it's interesting because, you hear about oversupply all the time on ODwire. People complain, but it seems like it's a very sort of regional thing, right? I mean, Portland, you can't swing a dead cat without finding another office being open, but, it's people, these younger people want to live in these sort of urban centers, but when you move out, if you really want to, get an opportunity, at least as we've seen on the site, you just have to, move into these more rural areas, and there's still opportunity out there for folks.
I really think that is probably the future. If you plan on being in a private, traditional private practice, is probably going to be out in rural areas, because, urban areas are it costs a lot to operate, and most of those are being, gobbled up by chains or venture capitalists and such as that. But if you go into the rural area, you really get to practice, really what, at your level of training. That's what I did when I came back from West Virginia after I finished my residency. I went to bought a practice out in Georgia, rural Georgia, and there wasn't another good doctor around, ophthalmologist around for about 40 miles. So, I got to see a lot of really neat stuff. I enjoyed it. That was great fun. You got to you really got to practice at a very, very high level. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't just, routine, run-of-the-mill kind of stuff. So that was fun. I really do think that is probably the future. And they're going to have to do that, because, I know people want to live in the urban areas, but let's face it, you can't make a living in urban areas. Urban areas, there's one, like you said, on every corner. You just can't do it. So these people are going to have to think about, going somewhere else, and to really, and that's where they're needed. That's really where they're needed. So, yeah.
Can we circle?
I've had.
Oh,
sure.
Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm done. I made that point. I'm done.
I wanted to ask if we could circle back to your book, and you could tell us a bit about how that came about for you to decide to write it, and why you chose. I mean, obviously you lived that topic. So can you tell us a little bit about how that came about?
Well, actually, I like to write. You know that.
Yeah.
But I really kind of started it when I got out. When I first, kind of toyed with the idea a little bit, and then John Murphy, who was a review. We were at dinner one. I think it was one of the review dinners, and we were talking. He said, you really ought to write an article about that. And I said, okay, I'll sit down and put something to paper, and submitted it to him, and they published it. It did really well. In fact, Mike, you and I had this conversation. What's Mike's name? I want to call him Hosteller, but it's Hostler.
Mike
Hoster,
and we call him Hustler.
Yeah.
Another editor at Review who's now in sales.
Yeah, he's But he told me when I saw him last to see, he said, Ernie, that's probably, we did numbers. That was the most read article we've had, at that time, ever. And I thought, well, okay. And then John started writing. He started writing books about the Algonquin series. And when I took the article, he said, maybe I'll turn that into a book. And I had a lot of people say that. So like I said, I had a lot written in journal notes and things like that from years past. I thought, well, I'll put it together and try to tie it all together. It is wouldn't make a memoir because there's too much BS in it. But a lot of stories, they are, I was telling Gretchen when she asked it, the characters are all composites of people that I've known over the years. The guy on the cover, the protagonist of the story, well, my story in it, but you look at the cover, he's a hell of a lot better looking than I thought about being. So,
Can you read the blurb about Ernie? They should about the author. Let's see what your editor wanted to say about.
Oh, it's rather long, and he's talked about it. I'd rather hear him talk more about the book.
Okay.
Well,
Do they talk about your optometric background? They don't mention the fact that you're an optometrist.
In his author blurb, he does, but not in the book.
Yeah, but the blurb has his background there. Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a biography on the last page.
No, it's nice to let the world know optometrists are literate. Yeah.
Was there a question?
Many times
I think all optometrists are literate, Paul. They got to be. Hopefully they're all literate. But in fact, I think the biography was written by somebody on this phone, if I remember correctly. She helped me with it a lot. So.
I may have contributed a bit of editing to your bio, yes.
Yeah, I think so, yes.
Hilarious. So, well, Ernie, it's been great speaking with you today, and we'll tell everyone to look out for your book. I have the cover up on the screen right now. It's on Amazon, so everyone should go for it.
On Amazon, on Barnes & Noble, all this, it's print, and it's now available as an ebook as well. So, I appreciate people reading, and that's kind of what I wrote for, just for people to kind of
and I have read
see
it.
a different way of things.
And I really enjoyed it. It was a good story. I learned a lot about coal mining. And I was involved with the characters too, that there's good plot in there, good character development. I really enjoyed reading it. I liked it a lot. And Ernie, do you have anything new on the horizon that we can watch for?
Oh yeah, we've got, there's all kinds of them in there. I've got, the next one is about, it's done. I just got to edit it. And I don't know what I'm going to wait to see how this one does before I actually, do anything with another one. But I've got 5 sitting in my laptop that I've written at different stages. And so, see how this goes and kind of, put them out somewhere down the road a little bit and see how it goes. Like I said, it's just a hobby. That's my hobby. I write. Other people play golf. Some people play tennis. I just write. So that's what I do.
That's really impressive.
And,
5 novels. Clearly, we didn't keep you busy enough at Optometry Times.
Jeez.
Okay.
I'm kidding. You know that I'm kidding.
I know you are.
All right.
Well, everybody should read this book. It is a really great book. I was very honored to be able to read it and say that I've worked with this great author. So well done, Ernie, and I really can't wait to see the next one. This was totally cool. I'm glad that you were able to talk about it.
I appreciate it. Appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak about it, and look forward to seeing you at SECO.
All right.
We'll see you soon.
We will see you there.
Bye, Ernie. Tell Karen we said hey.
I'll do it. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
All right. That was fun.
Yeah, I really can't wait to see the next one. I have a little bit of an idea of what it's about because I asked. And so, yeah. And in fact, I am happy to loan this copy to you to read. I really enjoyed it. And you should read it too, Paul.
Wait, but we don't want to do that to Ernie. Right, because now you're doing what he did with the cassettes.
Give me that back. Go buy your own copy. Buy a copy on it. And this one I actually did buy because I wanted to buy. I mean, it was important to me that I buy one.
Right.
So I bought this copy because I wanted him to have a sale.
I will buy a copy during the break.